ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। ओम नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्तकांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंकुं लङ्कयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। हरे कृष्णा। So we are discussing from the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Till yesterday, we had covered up to verse number 23 of the sixth chapter of Gita. Now we will continue from verse number 24 onwards. My plan is to complete up to 32, but we will see if I can, complete the entire. Just because this is a very important chapter, wherein not only because Krishna is speaking about Ashtanga Yoga, about Dhyana, but also Krishna is giving uh, many recommendations, and he is also giving some analogies, and he is also telling out some symptoms of a yogi, of a practicing devotee, like how a devotee must be, how a devotee must speak, or about what the devotee must think, what the devotee must not be thinking, what must be his object of worship, what must be his object of meditation. All those things we are discussing. So that's why this chapter is taking a bit too much time to actually cover. So yes, my plan is to cover from 24 up to 32 today, but we will see how much Krishna allows us to complete. Yeah, so I'll share the screen first. Yes. सनिश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योगो अनिर्वण्ण चेतसा संकल्प प्रभवान् कामांस् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रिय ग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः। ओके, सह निश्चयेन योक्तव्यो। सो स मतलब वो, दैट, एंड निश्चय, व्हाट डज निश्चय मीन? निश्चय मतलब कोई चीज को हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, आई हैव डिसाइडेड और आई एम डिटरमाइंड टू डू दिस। मैंने निश्चय ले लिया है, मैंने निश्चय कर लिया है। आई हैव निश्चयेना मीन्स बीइंग डिटरमाइंड इज कॉल्ड निश्चयेना। सो यस, स निश्चयेन योक्तव्यो। Yoktavya means to engage, to practice yoga. That is yoktavya. Sa nishchayena yoktavyo yogo anirvinna chetasa. What you have to practice? Yoga. What yoktavyo? Yoga. The yoga system. Yogo anirvinna chetasa. Okay. Anirvinna chetasa matlab you should be focused. You should not, you should not be distracted or you should not be deviated. So you should practice yoga. How? With anirvinna chetasa. Your chetana, your consciousness, it should not be deviated. Your mind, your chitta, it should be focused at one place. It should not, just go here and there, especially into sense gratification. You must not be concerned about your material gross sense gratification or any sense objects while you are doing yoga. So how will that happen? Krishna is saying nishchayena. You should be determined for that. It wo, this is essentially speaking about nishtha actually, because it is not easy to continue on the path of bhakti, or it is not easy to continue on the path of spirituality, whether if one is a jnani or a yogi or a karmi. I mean, karma yoga somebody is doing bhakti. For any one of these people, it is not very easy to, continue on the path of bhakti or continue on the path of their spiritual sadhana. Why? Because your mind is very restless. It will go here and there. So, what Krishna is speaking here is that one should practice yoga, yoktavyo yoga. How? Anirvinna chetasa. With your chitta, with your mind, intelligence, and body, without getting deviated, without getting distracted. You should be always, fixed up. You should be always having that dharana of Krishna inside you. And how will that happen? It will happen through nishchayena. Nishchayena means you should be determined for doing that. It is not a cakewalk. It won't happen on its own. It is not that आप एक दिन अचानक से बैठ जाओगे and everything fall into its own place. ऐसा नहीं होगा. You should be very much determined first of all, because your mind, since anadikal, since time immemorial, since an endless beginning, a beginningless state, sorry, not an endless beginning but a beginningless state, we have been trapped in this material body, and we have been identifying ourselves with the body since a very long time. Because of that, there are impressions inside the mind, like we have discussed before. When death happens, the the soul, along with the subtle body, it leaves the gross body. That is what we call death in this world. Like we have heard the shloka in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Like vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. Just like somebody gives up the old clothes which are not good, and he takes up some new clothes. Just like that, atma, when the body becomes useless, when your current body becomes useless, it gives up the material body and goes for some other body and takes another body, right? So similarly, if you see, there is one more shloka: dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. Just like a person, he grows from childhood to boyhood, then boyhood to youth, then youth to old age. And just like that, once you quit the body at the time of death, your soul is transmigrated from this body to another body, which is very new. But the soul is not going alone. The soul is going with the subtle coverings of it. Like we have this gross body which we can see. The organs and all are part of the gross body. Then there is a subtle body inside us, which is made up of three things: mind, intelligence, and false ego. These three things collectively we call it as chitta. So a mind, intellect, and a false ego. And these three things are intimately connected with the soul. The soul is having this subtle layer outside, and then there is a gross layer. When death happens in this world, we leave the gross body, but the subtle body is carried along with the soul. So because of that, the mind that we have, it does not just have the impressions of this particular life, but the previous lives as well. That is why we see that many people, they pick up, like for example, there are some some children who are born in a very very wealthy family maybe, but still they have the tendency to steal something. They are not stealing it because of their need. They are not even stealing it because they want it. They are stealing it because of the thrill. So where is that propensity coming from? It is coming from the past impressions which are on the mind, which is actually shaping the character of that person. So the characteristics that we carry, it's not something that we have just acquired in this lifetime, but it is a prolonged effect of many causes that has happened, many things that we have done. The effect of that is your character. It is your thought process, it's your mindset, right? Because it is not just from this lifetime, it is coming from many millions and billions of lifetime, we don't know how much. So that makes it more complex. So it is very difficult. So one fine day, if you decide that I will just turn away from this matter, this material world, I will change myself. And just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, raga dvesha vimuktestu vishayan indriyeshcharan atmavashe hridayatma prasadam adhigacchati. So I will, what will I do? I will become raga dvesha vimuktestu. I will be devoid of attachment and aversion, and I will be equal in happiness and sorrow, because I have known the philosophy. I know that the soul is eternal and all these things are temporary, so I'm not concerned about the material world. See, just by knowing, it won't help you. Why? Because your mind is conditioned in such a way that still it will drag you. If you all remember, Krishna, in the previous chapters we have seen, Krishna says that why you should not renunciate. You know, Krishna says to Arjuna that you should not renunciate. Why? Because even if a person renunciates, if he is not completely detached, what will happen? He will renunciate externally, but inside his mind he is always dwelling within the sense object. His mind will drag him. What will happen then fall down. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषोपजायते संगात् समजायते कामात् कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So Krishna gives a formula here that how does a person fall down. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa. Just by thinking, just by contemplating on a sense object, what happens? Sangaste shopajayate. We become attached to that object. Sangat samjayate kama. And that attachment, it leads to kama, it leads to desire. And kamat krodho vijayate. And when the desire is not fulfilled, काम के साथ साथ पीछे पीछे क्रोध आता है, इसलिए क्रोध को काम अनुज बुलाते हैं, काम का छोटा भाई है. So once we feel lust, and if it is not fulfilled, what happens? Anger comes. Krodhat bhavati sammohat. When krodha comes, when anger comes, we become delusioned. Sammohat smriti vibramam. And when we are illusioned, smriti vibramam, we forget everything. Our good intelligence is lost. Smriti भ्रंशात बुद्धि नाशो. Your intelligence is lost when you forget everything. इसलिए बोलते हैं ना, गुस्से में आके मैंने बोल दिया, सोचा नहीं, सोचे समझे बिना बोला, वो इसीलिए हो रहा है क्योंकि this is the system how it works. Krishna is saying in the second chapter, 63rd and 64th verse of the Bhagavad Gita. So smriti भ्रंशात बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात प्रणश्यति. Once your good intelligence is lost, प्रणश्यति, you fall down. So why is all these things happening? ध्यायतो विषयान. विषयों पे ध्यान करने से हो रहा है ये सब. और विषयों पे ध्यान करना नहीं करना वो आपके वश में है क्या? इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस द माइंड विल टेक यू. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, फॉर एनी वन ऑफ अस who has sat down, closed his eyes for 10 minutes, will understand, and tried to focus on one thing, will understand that where all the mind takes us, इधर से उधर, उधर से इधर, ऐसा 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 घुमाते रहता है. Is it easy to just control the mind? Even Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that, my dear Lord, I can, I am so powerful, I can control the wind that is blowing here. Can any one of us do that? Nobody can do it. The wind flows according to its will. You cannot just stop it. But Arjuna is saying that I am so powerful, I can do that. I'm confident on my capabilities. I can do that. And Arjuna was such a person. He could do that. But my dear Krishna, this mind, You are telling to control it. You are telling to make it a friend of mine. Forget it. It's not happening. I can control the wind. I cannot control my mind. So if Arjuna, who is known for his focus, who is known for his, unwavering attention and unwavering concentration, if he is saying this, what is our state? What is our stage? It's not an exaggeration, but the mind works that way because it is conditioned in such a way. So just like in the yesterday's session, we saw that it is through the pure mind that we can perceive uh, spiritual experiences, even in this material body. We can perceive in the sense you can realize through pure mind. You have to, the whole purpose of chanting is to purify the mind. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jeevanam anandambudi vardhanam प्रतिपदम पूर्णामृत स्वादनम सर्वात्मा स्नपनम परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम. शिक्षाष्टकम फर्स्ट वर्स. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this. Cheto darpana marjanam. That what does this Sankirtan, Sri Krishna Sankirtan do? Cheto Darpana Marjanam. It cleans your mind. It cleans your chitta. Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam. And this Maha Davagni, this great forest fire which is going on. What is that? Bhava. Bhava means what? This material existence. It's like a forest fire. We all are suffering. How can we get out of it? Sri Krishna Sankirtan. चेतो दर्पण मार्जनम भव महादावाग्नि निर्वापणम. खत्म कर देता. निर्वापणम श्रेय कैरव चंद्रिका वितरणम. And coolness of the moon beams will come and you will enjoy it. Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate. All glories toward Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is what Sri Krishna Sankirtanam does. If you want to clean your mind, what you have to do? Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These holy names of Krishna will start dancing in the courtyard of your heart and it will clean everything. Just by reading and listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, Hari Chittam Samashraye. Sri Hari, that Krishna who is not even approachable by great devatas like Brahma and Shiva, not even by Lakshmi Devi for that matter. He takes shelter in the heart of the devotee who is listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, who is chanting the holy names every day. You see, that is the glory of the holy name. So your mind will be cleansed, and with that cleansed mind, with that purified mind, what you can do? You can realize pure love of Godhead. That is the idea. So it is not just about shutting off the mind, but it is about purifying it. But for purifying it, what is necessary? Nishchayena. You should be determined to do it. Because the failures are going to come. See, let's accept the fact. ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि हम लोग एक दिन बैठ गए और सर्व सिद्धि होए एक ही दिन से. ऐसा नहीं होगा. Failures will come, but we have to not lose hope. We should be determined that Krishna, I want you. Krishna, I want you. Krishna, I want to love you. Krishna, I know I am fallen. I know I am nothing. I know whatever I am doing, I am just a failure, my dear Lord. But whatever it might be, you are my prananath. Mat prananathas sa eva na parah. You are the only lovable object in my life. You are the only person uh, whom I can really tell that he is mine. There is nobody else. Nobody else is yours. Nobody else is mine. Only Krishna is. Krishna is our soulmate. Nobody else is. So the idea is that how will you get Krishna? Nishchayena. You should be determined that, my dear Lord, I want you somehow or other. And I am not going to leave this process. Nishchayena. With determination, I am going to set. सनिश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योग अनिर्विण्ण चेतसः. संकल्प प्रभवान कामांस संकल्प प्रभवान. Sankalpa. And what does Sankalpa mean? Again, Sankalpa means all those thoughts that is coming into your mind. That is what sankalpa here means. Sankalpa prabhavan. Okay, because of sankalpa, kaman. Kama means material desire. So there are some, inside your mind, some, mental speculations may be happening. Some thoughts might be coming. Those are sankalpa. And because of that sankalpa, what is born? Desires are born. Kama. This you can again link to, the second chapter, 63rd verse. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषोपजायते संगात् समजायते कामात्. Right. So first thing that happened was dhyayato vishayan mumsa. It is like sankalpa only. The desires, the thoughts are coming. Mental speculation is happening. You are, you have a particular notion. You are thinking with your mind. You are independently thinking. You are not referring to the shastras, but you are thinking. You are constructing ideas of your own. Because of that, what happens? Desires will come. Desires will be generated. Sankalpa prabhavan kamams. Your mind will wander here and there, and as a result, kama will come. Desires will, material desires will come. Tyaktva sarvan asheshatah. Tyaktva, tyag do. Leave it. Or, just give up those desires. Sarvan. Every kind of such desires you have to leave. Okay. Sarvan. From all kinds of, you can say, desire. No? Asheshatah. Asheshatah means completely. अशेष सा कुछ शेष बचा नहीं ऐसा अशेषतः. मनसा एव इंद्रिय ग्रामम. Manasa means the mind and eva means certainly. Indriya gramam means the senses, all the set of senses, like the five knowledge acquiring senses, and the senses which do work, all those things, karmendriya and jnanendriya, all those indriyas, all set of indriyas is known as indriya gramam. So manasa eva indriya gramam viniyamya samantatah. विनियम्य. विनियम्य मीन्स टू, नियम मतलब क्या होता है? नियम मतलब कुछ सेट ऑफ रूल्स बनाना ना. विनियम्य मतलब regulate it. You should have regulations, not too much, not too less. Like yesterday also we discussed how you should not, a yogi does not sleep too much, does not sleep too less. A yogi does not eat too much, does not eat too less. Similarly, there are 4 regulative principles which are all niyama. So viniyamya samantatah. Samantatah, from every direction, from all the sides, right? So what is Krishna saying here? Krishna is saying that you should have, first of all, nishchaya. You should be determined, and with determination you should perform what? You should perform yoga. For what? Anirvinna chetasah. With that chetas, which does not get deviated, which is not distracted. So how does the chetas become distracted? That is given in the third line. Sankalpa prabhavan kamams. So when you have mental speculations, because of those mental speculations, what is born? Lust, the desire to enjoy, it gets created. So you have to do what? Tyaktva sarvan asheshatah. You should leave it. You should give it up. That is the idea. So Krishna is actually telling both the things here. First of all, you should be determined, and with a mind and intellect which is not deviated, you should focus. But at the same time, because of sankalpa, desires might be generating. Those desires you have to tyaktva. You should leave it. That is the idea. Yeah. So, and after that Krishna says manasa eva indriya gramam viniyamya samantatah. You should always take care, and your mind and all the set of indriya, all the set of senses that are working alongside the mind, you should do what? You should regulate it from all the sides. मतलब उसको बाहर भागने मत देना कभी. There is a very beautiful, that analogy of a tortoise that Krishna gives, right? We have seen that, like just like a tortoise, when it senses some dangers outside, it will just withdraw its limbs and sit inside the hard shell. A yogi should also be like that. He should not just let loose his mind and his sense objects anywhere and everywhere. No, he should not do that. He should be very much controlled. How will you do that? Viniyamya samantatah. From all sides he must regulate. That is the idea. So see, all these things are interrelated. When you regulate, your senses are not roaming here and there. So because your senses are not roaming here and there, your mind will not be agitated much, right? You are controlling it. Now because your mind is not very much agitated, you should not be having much of sankalpa, mental speculation. And if you don't have sankalpa, you will not come across desires, kama, sankalpa, prava and kamas. In case you come across some sankalpa, and because of some sankalpa some kama is generated, what you must do? Tyaktva sarvan asheshatah. You should make sure asheshatah, nothing should remain. Without a tinge of desire, you should do what? You leave it. You just give it up. Tyaktva sarvan, all the desires you must leave. And asheshatah, there should be no remnants left. And when you have all these things, you will have a nirvinna chetasa. Your chetana, your chitta, it will not roam here and there. And with that chitta you can do what? Yoktavyo yoga. But for all these things, what do you need? Nishchayena. You should be determined. See, one should engage himself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. So what it is? So it will, you can take the flow, and you can see that all these are actually steps that Krishna is giving. This 24th and 25th verse, the next verse that we this is 24th verse that we are discussing right now. The next verse 25 also, both of these verses are actually speaking about the methods to attain yoga rudha stage. In the beginning of the chapter we discussed that there are two stages, right? One is a neophyte stage. You are very new to the yoga process. The second is yoga rudha stage, which is a very advanced stage. So in the yoga rudha stage, so if one wants to elevate oneself to the yoga rudha stage, what he must do, that is described in these two shlokas, 24 and 25. And from the perspective of a devotee also, it is very important, right? As a devotee we need nishchaya. We should have faith and we should have determination. Then only we can do bhakti. Anirvinna chetasaha. We should not deviate our mind from the lotus feet of Krishna. We should not look towards sense objects. Anirvinna chetasaha. You should be not deviating. One pointed attention at the lotus feet of Krishna. Sankalpa pravan kamans tyaktva sarvanache asheshataha. All the material desires that is born, what we do? We leave it. We don't want. Because with a tinge of materialism, you are not going to get Krishna. That is the idea. We must be liberated from a trace of materialism also should not remain in us. We should be completely, devoid of material contact. That is when we get Krishna. That is the idea. And Krishna will only help. Like we saw in the Cheto Darpana Marjanam Shloka and the Bhagavatam Shloka. We saw that. Krishna only helps when we sincerely. But when we are doing some other forms of practices, we have to take the risk on ourselves, right? We are not surrendering ourselves completely at the lotus feet of Krishna, that I only want to serve you, I don't care for anything else. We don't say like that. So the risk is also on our head. But here the success is guaranteed, because Krishna only takes care of his devotees. He says in the Bhagavad Gita only, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Whatever the devotee has, I preserve it, I protect it. And whatever the devotee lacks, I provide it personally. I carry it personally, Krishna says. Yogakshema vahamyaham. I carry it on my head and go to the devotee and give it to him. Like that Krishna says. So we have to surrender our life to the lotus feet of Krishna and see wonders happen. So these two shlokas are actually speaking about how one can attain perfection, and what is the method of attaining yoga rudha stage. See here, Prabhupada also in the last line, see what Prabhupada says. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially bhakti yoga in Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job, but if one follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help, for God helps those who help themselves. Very important. We should show our determination to Krishna. And you see, when we take one step to Krishna, Krishna will take 100 steps towards us. We can experience that. Okay. शनैः शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्म संस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किंचित अपि चिंतयेत्. शनैः, शनैः means gradually. शनैः शनैर उपरमेत. Shanaihi, the first Shanaihi actually means gradually. Second Shanaihi is also gradually only, but here gradually, see, you can see in the word to word translation also, the Prabhupada says step by step. Step by step also means gradually. So gradually, step by step, Shanaihi Shanair Uparamed. Okay, Uparamed means you should hold yourself back. Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya. Buddhya, with the help of intelligence. Dhriti Grihitaya. Dhriti Grihitaya matlab there should be conviction. You know, you should be carried by conviction. That is what it is. Dhriti, conviction. Grihitaya, carried by conviction. So, Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya Atma Samstham Manah Kritva. Atma Samstham, placed in transcendence. So here Atma means transcendence. राइट. आत्मा का मतलब यहाँ पर ब्रह्म से किया जा रहा है. ब्रह्मन. So Brahman is transcendental to this material plane. Like this is the material body. We are in the bodily conception of life right now. So, but when you come to the Yoga Ruda stage, you identify always yourself as the spirit soul in your constitutional position. You look at yourself as a spirit soul. So when you are looking yourself as a spirit soul, it means that you are situated in transcendence. You have transcended the material body and your consciousness is fixed on transcendence. That's what it means. So to focus on the spirit soul. Atma samstam manah kritva. What you have to focus? Manah kritva. So you have to make your mind kritva. Make your mind what? Placed in transcendence. आत्म संस्थम. संस्थम मतलब वापस स्थापित करना है. आत्म संस्थम, प्लेस्ड इन ट्रांसेंडेंस. आत्म संस्थम मन कृत्वा न किंचित अपि चिंतयेत. न is a negation. किंचित, anything else. Right? Api chintayet, should think of. One should not even think of anything, like that Krishna is saying. So see, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction. And thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Very, very beautiful. So the 24th and 25th shloka is actually gradually building you to the level of yoga ruda stage, the perfection of yoga actually. So what are the things? Four things actually the two shlokas have spoke about. The first thing is practice with determination. Nishchayena. One have to practice with determination. Right. So in this connection, there is a story which comes in the Shastra, that once there was a little bird which, on the shore of a beach or on the shore of an ocean, what did he do? What did she do? She laid some eggs. Right. So it was high tide or something, and what did the ocean do? Its waves came to the shore and it took away the eggs of the bird. Now, this little bird, when she came back and she saw that her eggs are gone, she goes to the ocean and she makes a request. She says that, my dear ocean, my dear sir, please give me back my eggs. Right? I don't have anyone else. Please give me back my eggs. They are my children. No? Please give me back. I know you have taken this. You please give me back. And the ocean doesn't respond only. But she was very determined. She tells the ocean that, see, you have to give me back my eggs. If you don't give me back my eggs, what will I do? I will dry you up and take away my eggs. Like that. You think now a little sparrow or something like that, if it is going to the ocean and threatening the ocean that if you don't give me my eggs, give me my eggs back, I will dry you up, I will drink your water, or I'll replace you somewhere. Okay, so you give me back. So the ocean was also like, oh, क्या फालतूगिरी कर रहे हैं, छोड़ो यार, निकलो, देखो. But she was so determined that she actually started to hold the water from the ocean in her beak. And she was actually trying to dry up the ocean from that place because she wanted her eggs back. She was very determined. So at that point, Garud Dev, he was flying from the uh, in the atmosphere. He was flying through the sky, and he saw that this little bird is endeavoring so much, and he thought that what is happening. He went there and asked that little bird, because Garud Dev and they are family members, right? They are birds only. So some kind of jati buddhi came in Garud Dev. He was very compassionate towards his little sister, and he came and he asked her that what happened, my dear child, what are you doing? And she explained him all the situation that has happened. And Garuddev said that, Acha, okay, this is your problem, alright. And then Garuddev went and he told the ocean that you give back her eggs, else I will dry you up. You know na मैं किसका आदमी हूँ. So Garuddev is actually the carrier of Lord Vishnu. So the ocean was frightened. अरे हाँ, मैं जानता हूँ ये किन के आदमी है. And he returned her eggs back. So that's how the little bird, she got her eggs back. So this story comes in the Shastras. So this is to show determination. So ये जो भाव सागर है ना, actually, this material world, this material creation which is full of misery, it is not. It is a great ocean only. We cannot just endeavor, just by our own wish. We cannot get out of it. We are not strong enough. Actually, Krishna only says in the Bhagavad Gita that Mama Maya Duratyaya, that this Maya is my external energy and it is very difficult to overcome. It's very difficult from our own endeavors. That is why we need sadhu sangha like Garud Dev. Garud Dev is a constant companion of Vishnu. He is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, and so he is a great Vaishnava. So when we have great Vaishnavas and the Lord on our side, it becomes easy, because they'll say that you ocean, give her back her eggs. So similarly, Krishna will come and take you back home, back to God. No. Like in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have several times discussed this shloka, but this is very beautiful. Uh, in the 10th canto, 14th chapter, in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, after the Brahma Vimohan Leela, when Lord Brahma offers his prayers, he gives this beautiful prayer. You know, समाश्रिताये पदपल्लवप्लवं महत्पदं पुण्ययशो मुरारे भवाम्बुधिर्वत्सपदं परं पदं 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 यद्विपदां न तेषाम्. He's also telling the same thing. Samashritaye padapallavaplavam. People who take shelter of your lotus feet, my dear Lord. For them, bhavambudir vatsapadam, mahatpadam. For them, this bhava ambudhi means an ocean. So this bhava ambudhi, this material ocean of nescience, it seems like, water which is trapped in the hoof print of a little calf in the rainy season. It seems to be like that. And Mahatpadam, and they get what? Mahatpadam, that is Vaikuntha. Mahatpadam. Bhavambudir Vatsapadam Parampadam. Sorry, not Mahatpadam, Parampadam. So Parampadam here refers to Vaikuntha. Parampadam, Padam Padam Yad Vipadam Natesham. And how is Vaikuntha? He is describing Padam Padam Yad Vipadam Natesham. Means at every step there is no danger in Vaikuntha. Padam Padam Yad Vipadam Natesham. Which means this material world is opposite. Here Padam Padam Yad Vipadam is there. At every step there is danger in this world, but Vaikuntha is not like that. So Krishna, when you take shelter of Krishna, he gives you protection, he makes you fearless, and he takes you across the ocean of material miseries, which is very difficult to overcome on our own endeavor. It is very difficult. समाश्रिताये पदपल्लवप्लवं महत्पदं पुण्य यशो मुरारे भवाम्बुधिर वत्सपदं परम पदम 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 यद्विपदाम न तेषाम्. So very beautiful verse. So must memorize verse actually. Yeah. So what is Krishna saying here? He is saying that gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance, and by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. So we were discussing actually that there are 4 points that in both of these shlokas Krishna is covering. So first one was about determination, practice with determination without deviation, right? Practice with determination without deviation, that is anirvinna chetasa, that is without deviation. And nishtayena was determination. So in the connection of determination actually we went to that story of Garuda and the little sparrow, giving up all material desires which is born from mental speculation, है ना, kamams tyaktva, right? Controlling all the senses on all the sides by the mind. And the final stage, what is the final stage? Gradually coming to trance through intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus fix the mind on the self alone, thinking of nothing else. Right? Yeah. So in the 24th and 25th verse, we saw how the Yoga Ruda stage happens. Right? A very beautiful shloka actually. Next, 26. Now the 26th verse is actually going to speak about the success formula in yoga. What is the success formula in yoga? So Arjuna, at this point, we may be thinking that Krishna, you are speaking about, focusing your mind, not having any desire, just tyaktva, all the desires you should leave, and anirvinna chetasa, without deviation and all these things. But my mind is not like that. What can I do? So Krishna is giving you success formula. What you can do if your mind is not, if your mind is agitated. See, यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्यैतत् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत्. See, it is very very nice. यतो यतो, wherever, जहां जहां बोलते ना, यतो यतो निश्चलति. निश्चलति मतलब it is becoming agitated, ऐसा. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश chanchalam asthiram. Now here Krishna is actually describing the nature of mind. Manas chanchalam asthiram. Two things Krishna is saying about the mind. Manas, he is saying that your man कैसा है? First thing is chanchalam. चंचल है, इधर उधर जाता रहता है, किधर एक जगह पे नहीं रुकता. One of the name of Lakshmi Devi is also Chanchala, because money doesn't, it does not stop at one place. It just keeps on moving. So that's why it is known as Chanchala. So similarly, Manas Chanchalam. Our mind is what? It is Chanchalam. It does not stay at one place for a prolonged period of time. It goes from here to there. See, this is very hope giving. हम ऐसा सोचते हैं ना कभी कभार कि मैं ही ऐसा हूं. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, सब ऐसे है. भगवान खुद बता रहे हैं कि सब लोग ऐसे हैं. तुम सबको ये प्रॉब्लम है, बताता हूँ क्या करना चाहिए. बस डिफरेंट डिग्रीज हो सकता है, बट प्रॉब्लम सबको है, क्योंकि दिस इज द नेचर ऑफ द माइंड. वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट वी आर डीलिंग विद. सी, द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट पीपल आर इग्नोरेंट. व्हाट आर दे इग्नोरेंट टू? दे आर इग्नोरेंट टू देमसेल्व्स. वो लोग अपने आप से ही अज्ञान, वो लोग अपने आप को ही नहीं जानते. प्रॉब्लम वो है. हम मन को वश में करने का, कंट्रोल करने का, ये सारा बातें करते हैं ना, तो लोग बोलते हैं कि क्या जरूरत है. वो लोग को जरूरत इसलिए फील नहीं होता है क्योंकि वो लोग डिस्ट्रैक्टेड है, और वो लोग को फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है, और वो लोग को पता भी नहीं है कई बार. तो many people are like that. They don't even know that how their mind is working करके. Why? Because they have never tried to control it. No? It's very much relatable to students and all. Those who are very good students, when they are in their academics, somebody who is pursuing, say for example, courses like, they have done JEE after 12th, or NEET exams they have prepared for, some kind of competitive exams they have prepared for, UPSC and all these things, they will understand that to sit for a prolonged period of time, 8 hours to 14 hours every day, and study, they'll understand that where their mind is going. So they understand ki chanchal hai. But for a person who has never been inclined towards studying only, who has never read a book out of academics, who just wants to, just pass, he is, and all those things, and he is just interested in, doing binge watching and Netflix and chill and all these, reels and shorts. Those who are addicted to all these things, they will never realize this point. Why? Because they have never tried only to control. So here Krishna is saying that what is the nature of mind? Two things. Manas, chanchalam, asthiram. One thing is chanchala. Chanchala means it does not, it always goes here and there. And second thing is asthiram. Sthira matlab ek jagah pe rukna. Asthiram matlab it never waits at one place. Like that. Two things Krishna is saying. See? Chanchalam, flickering, and asthiram, unsteady. It is not steady only. It does not stay at one place. Okay, manashchanchalam astiram. So yato nischalati manashchanchalam astiram. So your mind, which is chanchalam and astiram, which is flickering and unsteady, such a mind, whenever and wherever it becomes agitated, then tatasthato, there itself, you know, there itself, niyamya etat. Niyamya matlab, in the previous verse also we saw, niyamya matlab regulating. So you have to regulate it there itself. Tatastato, right? That is what Krishna is saying. Tatastato, from there you have to. Matlab, Krishna is not making any, what do you say, any impossible claims. He is not putting any impossible burdens on our head in the name of spirituality. No, he is not doing that. You read very carefully. Krishna is not having any kind of, व्हाट डू यू से, कुछ ऐसा सपना नहीं देख रहे जो हो ही नहीं सकता, वो ऐसा कुछ इम्पोज नहीं कर रहे आपके ऊपर जो आप कर नहीं सकते। क्यों? क्योंकि चाहिए तो भगवान ऐसा बोल सकते थे ना, अगर आपका मन स्थिर है तो ही आप वापस आ सकते हो, तो ही आप प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो। लेकिन नहीं, भगवान जानते हैं ना, इसके वजह से देखो भगवान क्या बोल रहे हैं, ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, एजिटेट होता है ना, ये तो जहां जहां पे एजिटेट हो रहा है ना, वहीं पर ही आप क्या कर दो, रेगुलेट कर दो उसको, वहां पर से ही वापस लेके आओ उसको। जैसे जैसे इधर उधर भागना चालू करता है ना, उधर से ही पकड़ के वापस लेके आओ, इतना तो कर सकते हो। सो व्हेन वी आर चांटिंग, व्हेन वी आर मेडिटेटिंग, at that point also the same thing happens. We are focusing on the sound vibration, we are focusing on the form of Krishna, right? When we are meditating, we are focusing on the sound vibration of the holy name, because it is non different from Krishna when we are chanting. But our mind goes here and there, but that doesn't mean that we will just quit chanting. No, what you have to do, you should be determined. And how will you show your determination? This is the success formula. Whenever and wherever your mind is wandering, you catch hold of him and regulate him again and focus. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चंचलम स्थिरम ततस्ततो नियम्य एतत् आत्मनि एव वशम नयेत। वश में करो उसको, आत्मनि एव, इन द सेल्फ, in transcendence. Atmani eva vasham nayet, must bring. One should bring him under control and focus again on the self. See, from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. See, here it is very beautiful. Prabhupada is actually writing what is the meaning of Goswami here. Goswami and Godasa, two things he is speaking. So Godasa, go means senses, right? So go also means cows. So here go doesn't mean cow; it means senses actually. This is one of the names of Krishna is Govinda. He is such a person who gives pleasure to the cows and pleasure to the senses also. So Govinda, his name is. So go means senses. So somebody who is a servant of his senses, like for example, people like me, we are servant of our senses right now. We are not Goswamis, because our senses are demanding all sort of things and we are trying to fulfill it. This is called Godasa. When you live for your senses, you want to satisfy your senses through sense gratification, it is called Godasa, because you are what? You are a servant of your You are a slave of your moods and slave of your senses. Godas. And who is a Goswami? Swami means controller. स्वामी मीन्स दी व्हाट डू यू से, ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, ये घर के स्वामी है ना, ये घर के मास्टर है. So like that, Swami means master. So somebody who has mastered his mind and senses is Goswami. इसलिए उनको स्वामी या फिर गोस्वामी बुलाया जाता है. So Prabhupada is actually quoting that. So we have to, how do we become Goswami? This is how you become Goswami. यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चंचलम अस्थिरम ततस्ततो नियम्य इतत् आत्मनि एव वशम नयेत्. That's how you become. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. Wherever the mind wanders, bring it back and regulate it and focus on yourself again. See, now endeavoring to bring back the mind in this way, the yogi will again experience the bliss of samadhi and comes to the stage of Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta means realizing Atma and Paramatma. That is Brahma Bhuta stage. So when you bring back your mind again and again and focus on yourself again and again, what happens? The yogi experiences samadhi at that point, and he comes to the Brahma Bhuta stage where he is, he has identified himself as Atma and he is seeing Paramatma at that point. Then when in Brahma Bhuta platform, what happens is you realize Atma in Brahma Bhuta platform. That is what the 27th verse is going to speak about. See, प्रशांत मनसं ह्येनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शांतिरजसं ब्रह्मभूतम akalmasham. So when you follow the 26th verse, the success mantra of yoga, that's how you attain samadhi, and at samadhi you realize Brahma Bhuta. That is what Krishna is speaking here in the 27th verse. Prashanta manasam hi enam. Okay, so manasam means man ko manas bolte, barabar, manasam. Now see, so prashanta manasam. Prashanta means what? Prashanta in general vocabulary sense, we can say that Prashanta is that person who is Praghada Rupena Shanta. He is very peaceful, very much peaceful. है ना, प्रगाढ़ शांति ऐसा बोल सकते एक तरीके से. So Prashanta is that person. So here Prashanta means, when you connect it with all the previous shlokas, you will understand that here Prashanta actually means that person who has attained peace. So who is that person who attains peace? He is that person who is connected to the Supreme Lord. So one who has peacefully, fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna, that is that person who is Prashanta Manasam. How do we know that? In the previous shlokas, if you read line by line, you can see that in 2 verses Krishna says that you should fix yourself where you should make me the ultimate object of your life. The yogi makes me the ultimate object of your life, of his life, and he always sada, he focuses, he meditates on me, on my form. That Krishna says. So such a person becomes what? Prashant Manasam. His mind becomes peaceful because it is fixed on the lotus feet of Krishna. Prashanta Manasam hi enam yoginam sukham uttamam. Okay. So yoginam, of the yogi, sukham. Sukh means what? Happiness. Sukham uttamam. Uttamam means highest. सबसे बेस्ट बोलता ना, सुपरलेटिव, ऐसा उत्तम, उत्तम है, बढ़िया, सबसे हाईएस्ट सुख मिलता है. योगिनम सुखम उत्तम. सब लोग सुख ढूंढ रहे हैं ना, ये देखो, ये श्लोक में भगवान बता रहे कि सुख कैसे मिलता है. प्रशांत मनसम ही एनम योगिनम सुखम उत्तमम उपैति शांत रजसम. उपैति, उपैति मतलब क्या होता है? उपैति मीन्स ही गेट्स. उपैति, उपैति शांत रजसम. शांत रजसम मतलब, रजस मतलब क्या होता है? रजस मतलब पैशन होता है ना, रजोगुण मतलब पैशन, मोड ऑफ पैशन होता है. तो रजसम शांत, सो ही सबड्यूज द पैशन, he pacifies the passion. And what does he do? And he attains a stage where he has pacified his passion. And Brahma Bhutam akalmasham. Akalmasham matlab कल्मशम मतलब होता है कि पास्ट के वजह से जो सिंफुल रिएक्शन आता है ना वो. अकल्मशम मतलब ऑपोजिट. सो फ्री फ्रॉम all the past sinful reaction, that is akalmasham. So he becomes what? Brahma bhutam. Brahma bhutam means he is liberated and he is identifying himself with the absolute. He is realizing both atma and paramatma. It's the Brahma bhuta stage. Brahma bhutam akalmasham, right? So actually, if you see, there are two types of living entities in this world. If you take, one is Jiva Bhuta and one is Brahma Bhuta. There are two kinds of living entities. Jiva Bhutas are people like us who are actually having the bodily conception of life. They are trapped within this body, so they are known as Jiva Bhuta. And there are Brahma Bhuta. They are those people who have transcended this body. How? By realizing the Supreme Self, Brahman. So, Brahman does not really mean that you become God. No. Brahman means absolute, or Brahman means transcendental. Something which is transcendental to the material body is Brahman. So, Brahman में दोनों आता है. हम ब्रह्मन भी आता है एंड परब्रह्म भी आता है, तो दोनों आता है. So the super soul is Parabrahma and Brahman is us, the spirit soul. So both are called Brahman here. So Brahma Bhuta stage is that stage where you realize your eternal identity along with Krishna. Right, that is Brahma Bhuta. So we can see here that Prashanta Manasam Hi Enam. How can you get Sukham Uttamam? How can you get first class Sukha? First class happiness, how will you get? A yogi gets first class happiness when Prashanta Manasam. When he has a Prashanta Manasa. Prashanta Manasa Hi Enam. Yoginam Sukham Uttamam. And what happens at that point? Upaiti. Upaiti means he attains a stage where Shanta Rajasam. He has pacified his passion. And Brahma Bhutam Akalmasham. He is free from all his past sinful actions. And he becomes Brahma Bhutam. Very, very hope giving and very beautiful shloka it is. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Right? So, but at the same time, we should understand this thing. See, several questions Krishna has answered here. How can one be actually happy? See, we let's accept this fact. We all want happiness. We are all after happiness, right? So Krishna says here, if you want first class happiness, what you have to do? You have to become a yogi. For that, you have to do what? Prashanta Manasa. You have to fix your mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, and your mind will become peaceful. Prashanta Manasa. सिर्फ प्रशांत मन से क्या हो सकता है? योगिनम सुखम उत्तमम. He realizes, he relishes transcendental pleasure, which is uttamam, which is the best. And by doing so, upaiti shantarajasa. So all these things go together. So you have to also, subdue your passion. You go beyond the mode of passion. That is the idea. Upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhuta akalmasham. And by doing all these things, you realize Brahman. You identify yourself with the transcendental uh, self, and by doing so, what happens? Akalmasham. All your past sinful reactions are gone away, are finished. That is what they do. So many questions Krishna is answering. The first thing is, how would you get rid of all the past sinful reaction? हम सबका क्वेश्चन यही है ना, बहुत पाप किया है, लेकिन कैसे बाहर निकले? ऐसे बाहर निकलना, भगवान में अपना मन लगाओ, अपने मन को भगवान के श्री चरणों में रखो, सब हो जाएगा. Even Krishna assures towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, the conclusion, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami. Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, abandon all varieties of dharma. Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Surrender only unto me. Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Make me your only refuge. Make me your only shelter. Surrender to me. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami. I will get you rid of all your past sinful reaction. Get yourself free. Ma Sucha. Don't worry. Don't get confused. Don't get, you know, don't doubt. It will happen. Ma Sucha. Don't be worried. Yes, he is reassuring. So we can see that Krishna, throughout Bhagavad Gita, actually he speaks on all these topics again and again and again. The only thing is that we must focus on all these things so that we can understand. Yeah. So in the 27th verse, what all things we did? We saw first thing is Prashanta Manasam. साथ साथ में उपैति शांत रजसम. We understood that we have to transcend this rajoguna, and we saw that what we will get sukham uttamam. What if we have to get sukham uttamam, we should have prashanta manasam by following the previous verse. Okay, whenever the mind wanders, take it back and regulate it. Have a regulated mind, control it, and just by controlling it and focusing, making Krishna the object of your worship, the object of your meditation, focusing and fixing your mind on the lotus feet of Krishna, what will happen? You will become Prashanta Manasam. And then what happens? You can relish Sukham, which is Uttamam, the best amongst the Sukha. And by doing all these things, Upaiti Shanta Rajasam, then Brahma Bhuta Akalmasha. You can get rid of all your past sinful reactions. So, how to become happy? The first class happiness. Second thing, how to get rid of all the past sinful reactions. This is actually answered here by Krishna. See, here Prabhupada writes Brahma Bhuta is the stage of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. In Bhagavad Gita 18.54, Krishna speaks about this. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savaimana Krishna Padara Vindayo. Yesterday also we discussed this shloka. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord or to remain in Krishna consciousness is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. Right? Some beautiful purports. Many questions actually Prabhupada answers here. युञ्जनेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः कल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते. So this is the 28th verse, which is actually speaking about realizing Paramatma. Here Krishna is speaking about how you realize Paramatma. See, Yunjan evam sadatmanam. Yunjan means engaging in the practice of yoga. So Yunjan evam Sada Atmanam. Sada Atmanam. Sada is very important here. Sada means always. And Atmanam means the self. Right? So Yunjan evam Sadatmanam, always engaging in yoga. Always engaging in yoga मतलब क्या? कि हमेशा हम लोग योगा मैट लेके ऐसा करते रहे क्या? वो नहीं है. So you must be in union with the Lord. You must be always thinking about the Lord. That is what it means. Yoga means union. The divine union is called yoga. Right? That's why every path is known as yoga. Towards the end, yoga is added. Jnana yoga, karma yoga, the ultimate bhakti yoga. Right? So yoga means what? The divine union of us and the Supreme. That is yoga. So Yunyan evam sadatmanam. You should be in yoga always. Sada atmanam, by the self. Yogi vigata kalmasaha. See? Yogi vigata kalmasaha. Vigata means by getting rid of, like being freed of. Yogi vigata, one who is in touch with the supreme self. तो जो योग में है वो योगी है ना? So yogi, so there are some verses in which yogi is actually referred to as the practitioner of the yoga is called yogi. But in some verses yogi means who is already realized. So here हम लोग को कैसे पता चला कि यहाँ पे योगी का मतलब रियलाइज्ड है? क्योंकि कृष्णा इससे पहले जो वर्सेस थे वहां पे यही बता रहे थे ना कि योगा रूढ़ा स्टेज में क्या होता है करके. So he is already realized. He is in the stage of samadhi. So here yogi is actually that personality who is in touch, in constant touch with the Supreme Lord. Yogi vigata kalmashaha. Kalmasha here means material contamination. All the material contamination, he is free from all the material contamination. Yes. Sukhena brahma samsparsham. Sukhena, सुख के साथ. क्या सुख है ये मटीरियल सुख नहीं है. दिस इज ट्रांसेंडेंटल हैप्पीनेस. ये इससे पहले वाले श्लोक में बताया गया था ना, सुखम उत्तमम. The greatest happiness. That is what it is. Sukhena, what kind of sukh? Brahma samsparsham. Brahma means here, what does Brahma mean? Brahma here means supreme. Brahma samsparsham means being in constant touch with the supreme. So it is essentially happening in the heart. The Atma, the individual soul, which is part and parcel of Krishna, is actually turning towards the Paramatma and seeing him in the courtyard of his own heart. That is what is happening. And being in constant touch with him. Brahma samsparsham. Okay? Sukhena Brahmasva. And in that union, in that samsparsham, there is sukha, there is transcendental happiness. Atyantam sukham ashnute. Atyantam sukham ashnute. Means the highest sukha is there. Atyantam sukham ashnute. Ashnute means he attains. So the highest sukha, if somebody wants, this is what it is. पिछले श्लोक में भी था. Now it is been elaborated. Yunjan evam sadatmana. First thing is what you have to do for getting that sukha. So you have to be always, always, always sada atmanam, by the self. Yunjan in yoga, in that divine union with the supreme. Yogi Vigata Kalmasaha. The second quality is that he should not have any trace of material attachments, any trace of material contaminations. He should not be having. Yogi Vigata Kalmashaha. Sukhena Brahma Samsara. That's when he gets Sukha. What kind of Sukha? Transcendental happiness. How? By Brahma Samsparsham, by coming in contact with the Super Soul, coming in contact with the Paramatma, with the Supreme. Brahma Samsparsham, Atyantam Sukham Ashnute. He will attain such a Sukha which has no end. It is boundless. There is no end. Atyantam. And it is the highest. अत्यंत बोलते ना, बहुत बहुत ऊंचा. अत्यंतम सुखम अश्नुते, he attains. Thus, the self-controlled yogi constantly engaged in yoga practice becomes free from all material contaminations and achieves the stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. See? Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha. Right? So in bhakti also, if you are, offering something to Krishna, offering prasadam to Krishna, and you are making dresses for him, you are nicely glancing at him. All this is Brahma Samsparsham only. It's a matter of realization actually. सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. This is a very actually a very beautiful. This is 29th verse and the 30th verse. This actually speaks about the vision of a perfect yogi. How a perfect yogi sees Krishna everywhere. This is a very big topic actually. To seeing Krishna everywhere. It's not a very, like, it's a very beautiful thing to speak about. There are a lot of things and a lot of pastimes and lot of stories of Prabhupada and different devotees we can see in this connection. Great devotees of the Lord, especially the gopis of Vrindavan, headed by Srimati Radharani and Yashoda Maiya and the Sakhas of Krishna. All this, there are very beautiful pastimes which are connected to these shlokas, but we have unfortunate, or I don't know what, but we don't have much time to discuss all these things. So Sarva Bhutastam, so 29th and 30th verse actually speaks about the perfect vision of the Lord. Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. Sarva Bhutastam. Stam means situated. राइट, जैसे कि हम लोग इससे पहले भी देखे ना, स्तंभ वो वर्ड्स आता है. तो स्तंभ एक्चुअली मीन्स व्हाट? टू स्टे, टू बी सिचुएटेड. सर्वभूतस्थम. Sarva means all. Bhuta means, like we discussed, all the soul, all the spirit souls, or all the living beings. That is Bhuta, right? Sarva Bhuta means all the living beings. Stham means somebody who is situated in all the living beings. Atmanam. This Atma is whom? Somebody who is the only person who is situated in everyone's heart. Who is that? That is Krishna. That is the Paramatma feature of Krishna. So Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. So who is that? इज परमात्मा. दैट इज वाई प्रभुपाद हियर इज राइटिंग सुपर सोल. नहीं तो आपको कंफ्यूजन होगा कि आत्मानम बोल के सुपर सोल, वो ऐसा कौन सा आत्मा है जो हर जीवों के हृदय में बस रहा है. दैट इज परमात्मा. सर्वभूतस्थम आत्मानम, सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि, एंड सर्वभूतानि अगेन, and sarvabhutastam atmanam means in every living entities that super soul is there, that paramatma is sitting. And sarvabhutani cha atmani, and every living entity is situated in that atma, in that paramatma, cha atmani, in the self. Like Krishna is speaking about himself, in the self. ऐसा ईक्षते योग युक्तात्मा. ईक्षते means to look, to see. ऐसा, that vision is ikshate, the see. Yoga yuktatma. Yoga yuktatma means that person who is in yoga, one who is dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. Here Prabhupada is writing. So somebody who is dovetailed in Krishna consciousness means what? He is one with the Supreme Lord all the time. He is associating with the Lord. So he is in yoga. So yoga yuktatma. So that person who is a yoga yuktatma, ikshate, he sees Sarvabhutastam Atmanam, he sees the super soul, the Paramatma in everyone's heart, in every living entity, and Sarvabhutani cha Atmani, and he sees every living entity in the Paramatma, in the Supreme Lord. Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshana. So such a person, he is seeing Paramatma only everywhere. So Sarvatra, at every place, Samadarshana. Sama matlab same, with same vision, equal vision he is seeing. Darshana. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Now, there are many beautiful quotations that Prabhupada gives here. You must definitely read all these things. It's a very beautiful, deep purports actually. This is a very beautiful verse. Again, this is an further, you can say, a continuation of the previous verse. यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति. It's very beautiful. Actually, an intimate relationship between Krishna and his devotees has been explained here. Between Krishna and the yogis is explained here. Yo ma pashyati sarvatra. Yoha means whoever. Ma means me. Okay. Yo mam pashyati means sees. So somebody who sees me sarvatra, everywhere. Sarvam cha mai pashyati. Cha means and sarvam, everything, everyone, mai pashyati, sees in me. So somebody who sees me in everything and somebody who sees everything in me, tasya aham na pranashyami. I am not lost to that person. Tasya means to that person. Aham, me, I, na, it's a negation, pranashyami, lost. So I am not lost to that person. Sa cha, and also me na pranashyati. Sa means that person. Cha, and it's also that person also me na pranashyati. So that person is also not lost to me. That's what it is. So for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. See, this is so hope giving, no? Very, very much hope giving. When it means that if we are simply, remembering Krishna, Krishna is remembering us. Krishna is near us, right? So the 9 limbs of bhakti that Prahlad Maharaj speaks to Hiranyakashipu, when Hiranyakashipu asks Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he asks that what is the highest, knowledge that you have ever heard or known, that what you have studied is the highest truth. So Prahlad Maharaj is a little boy, 5 years old. He says that Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. The 9 limbs of bhakti. Shravanam, hearing about Krishna. Kirtanam, to speak about Krishna, to sing about, glorify Krishna. Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, to think about Krishna. See, this is a limb of bhakti. So somebody who is seeing Krishna everywhere, even if you are thinking, at that point also Krishna is assuring here. See, Krishna is saying, right? He is not lying. So, which means that somebody who sees Krishna in everything and he sees everything in connection to Krishna, Krishna is never lost to him, right? Krishna is never lost to him. He is always residing in Krishna and Krishna is always with him. Such a person is never lost. See, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, Sarvam Cha Mai Pashyati. Tasya Aham Na Pranashyami. Sacha Me Na Pranashyati. Such a person is never lost to me, and I am also not lost to such a person. So Krishna says, right? So very beautiful purport. Here, Prabhupada quotes from Brahma Samhita 5.38, a beautiful verse actually. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shyama sundaram achintya gunasvarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So, prema anjana churita bhakti vilochanena. So, a person who has smeared the mascara of prema, of love for Krishna, premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Yam Shama Sundaram, Achintya Guna Swarupam. His Guna and Swarupa, they are Achintya. It is inconceivable. But for such a person who has, anointed his eyes with the mascara of love for Krishna, he sees him in the heart. I worship the premier Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form as Shama Sundara, situated within the heart of the devotee. See, it's a very beautiful verse. The same thing, we should strive that when will that day come that you know I I can just remember Krishna like this. Looking at the rain-filled clouds, I'm remembering the beautiful form of my Sham Sundar, right? Looking at maybe lightning or some kind of yellow thing, I just remember the pitambar that the Lord wears. And looking at a peacock feather, I am just reminded of, oh my dear Lord, you are like this. Looking at a flute in this world, a Venu, we remember Krishna. Or looking at anything for that matter, we can remember Krishna. Anything black. It is said that when Srimati Radharani would go into man sometimes, so uh, she would be going into man and she would be very much, what do you say, disturbed by Krishna for some reason. He was a bit mischievous, so he would do something or the other to agitate Srimati Radharani. And what would Srimati Radharani do? She would go into a man. Man means it is an expression of love in anger. सो शी वुड रूठ जाते थे, मान में बैठ जाते थे, बात नहीं करते थे, ऐसा मान सरोवर और सब है वृंदावन, हम देख सकते हैं. So when she would go into man, na, so Krishna would try to pacify her or somehow or other get her. So sometimes she would go into such man that she would call her sakis and say that chop off, shave off all your head. I don't want to, I don't want to see anything black. Why? Because anything black reminds me of Krishna. I'm upset with him. I don't want to see anything black. I don't even want to see your eyebrows. Take it off. Like that she would say sometimes in her mana, Leela. So that's how much love Srimati Radharani has for Krishna. That she everything that she sees reminds her of Krishna. A Tamala Vriksha reminds her of Krishna. The Kalindi reminds her of Krishna. The Govardhan Hill reminds her of Krishna. In fact, for every Brajvasis, it is like that. Everything and anything and everything reminds them of Krishna. We should strive for that day. We have, read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Puri, he would just look at a hill and he would just imagine that it is Govardhan. He would look at a full moon and he would be reminded of the Sharat Purnima nights when Krishna was there. He would just look at a small forest and he would be reminded of a Nikunja in Vrindavan. He would look at the ocean and he would think that it is Jamuna and he would go and jump into it. Then that would. So pure devotees are like that. They see Krishna everywhere. We should also strive for that day so that we can see Krishna everywhere. That everything reminds us of Krishna. Everything reminds us of Krishna like that. So yes. So The 31st and 32nd verse speaks about actions of a perfect yogi. So far, before this, we saw that what is the vision of a perfect yogi. Now we will see what are the actions that the perfect yogi performs. See. सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां भजति एकत्वमास्थितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां. Okay, sarvabhuta, again sarvabhuta sthitam means what? That person who is situated in every bhuta, every living entity. Sarvabhuta sthitam yo mam, again Krishna is saying me, I am only that person. Sarvabhuta sthitam yo mam bhajati ekatvam astitah. What? Bhajati. Bhajati is very important. Bhajati means bhajan karna matlab bhakti karna. See, Krishna in dhyana yoga also is speaking about bhakti. That is why I was telling before, in every chapter towards the end or in the middle, Krishna will speak about bhakti, because that is the heart of Krishna. In the heart of Krishna, bhakti is there. He loves the devotee and he wants us to love him. They will speak about it. So see, sarva bhuta sthitam yomam bhajati ekatvam astitah. Bhajati means serves in devotional service. See, Prabhupada means bhakti karna, ekatvam, in oneness, astitah, situated, है ना, आस्थित होगा. सर्वथा वर्तमानेपि, सर्वथा, in all respects, वर्तमानः being situated, api, in spite of, स योगी मयि वर्तते. That yogi, that transcendentalist, he remains in me, like that. Mayhi vartate, he is remaining in me. See, such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Here I refers to Krishna. Krishna and the super soul are one only. The super soul is a plenary portion, the localized Paramatma feature of Krishna. In the first session of this chapter, we had elaborately discussed about the Paramatma feature and the Bhagavan feature and Brahman feature. So you may refer that again if you have any doubts. Such a yogi who engages in worshipful service of the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are same, are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. It's a very beautiful verse. So this is what the yogi does. What does the yogi do? Bhajati. He does bhakti all the time. Atma upam atma sorry atma aupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo matah. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Here, Krishna speaks about, this is one of the actions of a yogi. A yogi, you know, see, a Vaishnava, the greatest quality of a Vaishnava is that he is Paradukha Dukhi. For somebody else's suffering, he considers to be his own suffering. Somebody else's happiness is his happiness. There is no envy. So here Krishna is giving that quality of a yogi, that a perfect yogi is that person, he compares to his own self and, you know, sees the true equality of all beings, that every living being is equal in both their happiness and distress. That is what he is saying. So very beautiful purport also, wherein uh, Prabhupada says that, he is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by the dint of his own personal experience. About a Krishna conscious person he is speaking. And he says that, what is the real cause? There are many answers, many answers to many questions of us. What is the cause of distress? The cause of distress of a living entity is forgetfulness of his relationship with God. And Krishna and Prabhupada says here that what is the real welfare activity? It is to reunite the forgetful soul with his eternal master, that is Krishna, right? So that is the greatest welfare activity that we all can do, to just bring the living entities within connection with Krishna. That is the greatest activity. Else, if we are giving them some money or giving them some food, it is very good, but at the same time we should also be concerned about we should also be concerned about how we are connecting them with Krishna. Why? Because that is the need of the soul. Everyone wants to love and be loved. right? Everybody wants to love and be loved. So who can love and fulfill your heart? It is Krishna. So we have to make sure that all the thirst of material hankerings and all these miseries are all there existing. Because why? Because we are away from Krishna, we are forgetful from Krishna. So we should make sure that we should get back to Krishna on track in our constitutional position, and at the same time help others also to get back to Krishna. That is the real welfare activity that Prabhupada is speaking of. So Hare Krishna, we have discussed up to 32. In the next week, probably we will complete this chapter. Hare Krishna, if you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and ask. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, no doubt.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.